Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey.
Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh,
Hey,
hey,
oh,
hey,
oh,
oh,
hey,
hey. Speaking of which, let's see who won last week. Welcome everyone to Married to Survivor with Joleen and Xchel, two of your favorite comedians. I'm just saying that, who also love Survivor and are married, and recap all the episodes for you here on the YouTube. Smash the like. What's our like goal for tonight, Xchel?
So we're gonna get up to 10, and I'm gonna feel pretty good about myself.
I think we already have 10 likes.
Oh,
I'm not
12.
Sure.
Then
Okay,
I'll feel
Xchel's
pretty
going
good.
for 12 likes on this video. That doesn't really help us with the algorithm, but awesome, Xchel. Way to have.
I set the bar low, that way I can achieve it, and then I feel good about myself.
I love it. Sorry. Oh, we already have 20, and we have a dislike, so that counts as 21 likes in the algorithm.
Oh, nice.
So somebody is already mad at us. Sorry that we had to reschedule this, you guys. It's been a crazy week, and Xchel's working and all kinds of stuff. And we started exercising again. Who are we, Xchel?
I don't know, but you better knock it off.
That's you. We're intermittent fasting. We're just out. We're trying to stay on.
It's
something.
only day 2, though. It's not like crazy. I'll believe it when we do it for 2 weeks straight. I'll believe it when we do it for 2 weeks straight.
Intermittent fasting or working out?
Both. Being healthy.
Okay. Yep. So check in with us, guys, in 2 weeks and see if we've fallen off the wagon. If we're, I don't know if we're doing something.
Weight loss is a bumpy road. It's easy to fall off the wagon.
Oh, it's a bumpy road, you guys. Let us know all your thoughts, hopes, and opinions about Survivor and everything we're talking about tonight. Smash the like. Like I said, if you do want to support the channel, liking is a great way to do it. You can also support us here on YouTube by sending us a super chat during our live. We're married, so we share the money. And patreon.com/Joleen Lunzer. You can join me there. Otherwise, we do have one membership here on YouTube. So that's all I got. That's all I got. Xchel, tell me how's it going? How's life? What a beautiful tree behind you.
Oh, thanks. I was forced to because I'm married. You would not stop asking, so I just had to say yes and be okay with it, even though it wasn't my initial choice.
But
there are boundaries that were crossed.
All right. Okay. We're going to have to talk about this with a therapist. But I could have sworn you said the other day that the tree was really beautiful and you're happy it was there. Did I dream that?
I think I did say that, but I also feel like that's a husband thing. You know, you got to say those things. You can't just be like, fine, put it in there, put it in the back. Oh, that's cruddy.
Well, it does look really pretty.
Well, I wish it had ornaments on it, but you kind of gave up halfway and you said, do it yourself.
That is not true. He's making up lies. We are saving the tree.
We're waiting for the kids.
Waiting for the kids. And I'll be doing putting up a decorating video on YouTube. And if you didn't already see, I do have my sponsored Treetopia video, and I decorated my pink tree. And it's up here if you guys want to check that out. And I have a discount code too for everybody if you want your own Treetopia tree. So
get your own Treetopia tree.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Yes. Okay. It's the black tree is behind Xchel. We're going to decorate it when Lucy and Frankie get here. They'll be here in like a week. Our niece and nephew. So yeah, they're going to help me. I got some decorations. I can hear your mouse like scraping on the desk.
You can?
Yeah.
No, those are my vibrations from my phone because I'm popular.
I don't think so. I don't ever see you get texts. No offense.
Oh, well, I'm getting them because you're the one who told me to reach out to people and ask can we take the kiddos.
Is that really? I think that was your mouse. Okay. So, how are you doing otherwise besides being burdened by that beautiful tree? What else is going on in your life?
You know, other than my wife complaining about my mouse and whatever, my office not having a tree, it's going good.
I think every office needs a tree though. You know?
No, I'm practicing the Passover, so I don't need a tree.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. I don't know. Now, what about are we going to keep going Wednesday nights, or do we have to switch it permanently to Thursdays due to your work schedule, or what are we doing?
No, it just was last night. I just worked from 1 to 6, so it should be regular time. And then next week, we're not doing anything because it's off for Thanksgiving. So
Oh, Survivor? No Survivor next week?
No, I'm talking about my work schedule.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You're off next week. Okay, got it. I see what you're saying.
Now, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. We're not on the same page. We just had dinner together. We just had a beautiful Chipotle dinner.
Yes.
Because Xchel made lamb again. No, he didn't. Every time I eat Chipotle, someone in the chat goes, "Did Xchel make lamb again?" Xchel is practicing for the Grinch. He is. He's trying out.
I'm a good Grinch. I think so. It's a lot of like time by yourself, just relaxing. It's really nice.
Yeah, just up on the top of a hill with a cute dog. Being
that's a good life.
Jamie B, your tree is on your way. Jamie B, I believe Jamie B got a pink tree for his niece, if I remember correctly. And I'm so excited that Uncle Jamie, I mean, I would have been so excited if I don't think I ever had an uncle that really bought me stuff. It was always aunts. In the Midwest, uncles don't, I don't know, maybe just in Minnesota or just my age group. Did you have uncles?
No, I don't think they do that. No, I don't think that's a Hispanic thing either. I think it's just we pass it on to the wife type of thing.
Yeah, but Jamie is a gunkle. He calls himself a gunkle because he's a gay uncle.
I love that.
You need a gunkle in your life because they.
Isn't your friend Jake? He's pretty good about buying presents for his niece and nephew, right?
Yeah, he's a gunkle too, though.
Yeah,
you need gunkles, man. Everyone I didn't even have a gunkle. I don't even think I had a gay uncle. I mean, everybody's got a gay uncle, but I never knew mine. That was a Chris Rock joke. Because everyone's got a gay uncle, or everyone's got a. I thought that was it.
I like the term hunkle better. You know, like a hunk and an uncle. That'd be pretty good.
You're a hunkle, Joe.
Yeah.
I think you're a hunkle.
Hey.
Is that why there's no tree in Xchel's office? Because he's practicing for the Grinch? He actually, that tree behind him, that is the office that Xchel is sitting in.
I did approach you first and I say, you can put the tree up. I know that it makes you happy, so you can do that.
Aw, yay. Thanks, Xchel. I appreciate that. You have a gunkle. Missy, I'm jealous of your gunkle. Give me all your gunkles. All right, you guys. Let's get
and all the gunkles are hunkles in my book.
Yes, gunkle, hunkle, all the same. All right. So as far as who won the buff from last week, between Xchel and I, who guessed who was going home in this episode correctly, you guessed that it was, I guessed Heather, Evie, and Xander.
Okay.
And you guessed Shan, Ricard, and Deshawn. So
you win. You got Evie. Yeah.
I thought I said Nasir too, but I didn't. However, that means I get the Survivor buff, but I can't find it. So
did you lose it already?
I think I did. I just saw it, and
I think it's on the table behind the computer.
Oh, it could be back there. Yeah, you're right on that.
No, I'm saying right behind your computer on the table, like it fell down.
Oh, it could have. Oh, well. Well, imagine I'm wearing the Survivor buff, and I guessed correctly. Jamie B said, I'll be your gunkle, Xchel.
All right. I'll send you my address in the DMs, and you can send me some pink trees.
So, so let's break down this episode. I do have some screenshots. I wasn't able to screenshot the whole episode because I watched part of it on my Mac and then part of it on my phone while I was working today. So we come back. So this is episode what episode is this? What did I say it was, you guys? What is normally my notes, but I was like, I'm doing screenshot notes.
Are you looking for the title of the show?
Well, it's Survivor season 41 episode 9, and it's something about the zoo, right? What did Deshawn say?
We're gonna find out.
Clever saying.
That's really good. Did you take a note?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you're grounded.
Last week was husbands can't ground. Last week was Betraydar, and this week is like something at the zoo.
Yeah.
The last gunkle at the zoo or something.
This isn't starting out well. Your mouse is scraping, so maybe you're hearing your own mouse.
I need to get a mouse pad because I haven't got a mouse pad yet for my computer.
I think you're hearing your own mouse. You're trying to blame it on me, but it was really you.
It probably was me. Oh my gosh. How dare I?
Well, let's just start with overall. Like, how did you like the episode? Did you hate it? What do you think?
I did like the episode. I like that we got to see two tribals. So both tribes went to tribal. We saw two people go. I mean, we are dealing with a condensed season. So yeah, I wasn't expecting, but maybe I should have been.
I really loved this episode. I thought it was really good. I think the producers may have saw something along the lines of like, well, there's a majority, and so that majority is going to wipe out the minority unless we play a game where there's two different teams. I really like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So you think they're just throwing in, like they have been all season, throwing in all kinds of.
Yeah, because you don't want it to be like, oh, hey, it's these 5 people. They're going to make everybody vote their way. That's so Big Brother. We want like suspense. We want to be guessing who's going to go home. And I, for one, did not see one of these people going home. That was for sure.
Yes, I love the shade towards Big Brother too, because sometimes it can be like, vote with the house, and you're like, ugh, no, vote with the house. Brooke, yes, who's who in the zoo? That was Deshaun's clever thing that he came up with while he was talking to some of his tribe members. All right, so we come back from last week's, or from the night before that night's tribal, so last week. And everyone is
upset,
disarray. Yeah, it's
Heather really stirred the pot.
Heather did, and Nasir was like, what, huh? And she's just like, yeah, and then later the next day she tried to talk to him like, I didn't say that, and Evie's like, you said vote Nasir. You definitely said that.
She got caught. She got caught.
He was like, oh, I did. Okay. And he goes, just own it. Just own what you're doing. Because Nasir, his gameplay is very, I mean, he's very honest. I mean, we saw that in every episode, but we definitely saw it in this episode. And I don't think it, was the best for him longevity in the game.
I did like that there was a lot of chaos and confusion in the main majority, the main alliance, specifically Deshaun mad at Shan. I really like that there was like chaos happening. But what I really enjoyed about the overall episode is that even though that there were butting heads that night, because I think everything just was thrown at the wall and everyone's just confused and like, what's happening? Like, I thought we had some sense of control here. I really like that Deshaun came up to Shane afterwards the next day and just apologized. Because I think that sometimes in the heat of the moment, like you could say some weird things like you don't really mean, but it's just, you're just confused and upset about the situation. So I really like that Survivor kind of showed that there is some kind of semblance of mutual ground kind of given in terms of like, hey, I apologize for the way I was acting last night. And Shan coming back and be like, well, I apologize too. So
yes. And well, yes. So we get there, but before we get there, I agree with you. Like, I like that. And it's good for your social game, definitely, to clear the air, but the air it's cleared on a very surface level between Deshaun and Shan, because they both don't like each other's approach at all to this game.
Yeah.
Neither approach is incorrect. It's just, they're not on the same page as each other with their approach. Like I said, it's two people that want to lead, and it's definitely difficult to give in when you're like, no, this strategy is going to work. And what happened at that last tribal is Deshaun was like, I didn't want to vote for Heather. I like Heather. Heather's not bad for my game. Yeah. But when Heather started going, a little crazy, but very entertaining at tribal, that's when Shan's like, well, let's just turn it on, on Heather. Yeah. And then Deshaun, he seems to be particular. I mean, he's pretty open that he does not like to be told what to do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Shan's like, well, I'm then come up with a plan. And his plan was, well, let's stick to the old plan.
Yeah.
Let's just keep with who we were voting out.
And he felt like she was like, no, we're going with this new plan. Because that's essentially his biggest problem, is that it's not so much that they have different games as much as that he feels that she's bulldozing, and he don't like that. It's like, we have to do what Shan does when Shan wants. And I think Deshaun's game is more like, hey, let's like really be critical and methodical about what we do and our choices. So I think you're right. I mean, either way is a good way to play, but I just think that we have two bulls of the game, right? And they're locking horns just because they both see the game differently than what's happening. In my honest opinion, like if I was there, I would have voted Heather out. She's obviously a pot stirrer and not good for anybody's game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. But, they also are, you think always with your alliance and as a group, but you're also thinking independently for yourself. And for Deshaun, it's like, well, she's good for my game. Yeah. And Shan's like, well, she's not good for mine because she's trying to blow up this stuff, you know.
Well, who was voted out that night? It was Tiffany, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Tiffany was bad for Deshawn's game at all, you know? And I just think that in essence, Sean got caught feelings and was upset that Shan was kind of doing a bulldozing thing.
He got caught in his feelings. I think he
Yeah.
got caught a little bit in his ego too. I do. I think because he was not. Here's the thing. Like, obviously, you know, those who follow me know my opinion about on these shows a lot of time with women. When we see women playing very hard or aggressively, it's received a lot differently than when men do it, and especially when we see women of color do it. They are called.
Do you think that there's a man playing as aggressive as Shan, though? I don't think so.
I think Deshawn and Danny are playing as aggressively for sure. But they're men, and men are in more cases rewarded for that kind of strategy. I think Ricard is playing very aggressively, and no one has said boo about it that we've seen in the edit. I think Xander's very strategic. I just think Shan is an interesting case, and this is just my opinion, and you don't have to agree, but I feel as though Shan is that type of woman that society hasn't necessarily, not everybody has decided that they're okay with. And that is a woman who is like stands behind what she says. She's like, this is my strategy. I'm going to be, you know, assertive. I would not say aggressive. I'd say very assertive with it and push what I want because this is my one chance. And normally I always say this about like when we're kids, when you hear like when you're a little girl and you're, you know, talking too much, you're telling people what to do. What if people always say little girls? They say, you're being so bossy. I would hear that as a kid. Joleen, you're bossy. But men, little boys, I should say, when they are doing that, I feel like they're told that less. It's more like, oh, he's a leader. You know what I mean? Like, oh, because we're used to that. That's just my take on it. And Shan even posted something on her Instagram here. She posted a picture and she said, let's normalize strong, strategic women of color who are assertive and aren't afraid to take charge. I'm almost certain that if I was a man, I'd be making moves or a mastermind, but somehow I'm aggressive, manipulative, merciless, and messy. Whatever y'all, she said, flips hair, Survivor never looked so good. I mean, we don't always see, usually when we see a woman playing as hard as the hardest men play, they become a villain. Do you know what I'm saying?
I disagree with you. I think that in this instance, Shan has put herself as the talking head of the group. And so therefore she's more of a target because she's the talking head of the group. And I think when you say that Deshawn and Danny are being aggressive, I think that Deshawn
and assertive, Danny, I feel like they're pushing their agenda.
So assertive. Okay, well now you're changing vocabulary. You gotta let me finish and talk.
Oh no, because I corrected myself with Shan and I said she's not aggressive, she's assertive.
Now you're changing the whole like. See, it's hard to converse with you sometimes because you're willing to edit what you just said rather than just kind of listen, and that's difficult because that kind of removes my train of thought. And I think what I'm trying to say here is if you want to label Deshawn and Henry, is that correct? Sorry.
There's no Henry.
Well, will you let me know the name?
Which one did you? Deshawn and Danny?
Thank you. Deshawn and Danny. When you say that they're aggressive. Ricard too, yes. Are you saying that Shan is not aggressive or just as aggressive? And
I'm saying just as, and I edited it earlier before when I was speaking previously, I had said like a couple minutes ago or whatever, that actually it's not aggressive, it's assertive. And I feel like the men, so I wasn't trying to edit it as after you spoke, I already did that. Well, so I feel what I'm saying is Shan's playing as assertively as, you know, at the same pace, I feel like, as Deshawn, as Danny, as Ricard, and they're all equally vocal to Shan. But label.
Well, I think she's getting the label because she's the spokesperson for what other people want, is what I'm trying to say. Because I do think that Deshawn is conversing with his cohort, before they make decisions together and before they become aggressive. And I think that's just what Deshaun wants in this situation, is someone to talk about what the plan is moving forward so that he can feel secure. And I think with Ricard, what I see there is that he has made Shan his spokesperson. So Shan is the one making all these aggressive moves. And so therefore, I do agree with you that it's her being seen from a societal place that she might be overly aggressive or whatever. But I think where I find fault in what Shan's doing is that she kind of, if it benefits her game, she'll make a move within that minute, right? And this is what Deshaun sees. And therefore, it'll just change the whole plans altogether. And that's what I think Shan kind of falters on, is that maybe because she thinks she's the spokesperson, she then's like, I got to lead by the wind rather than sticking to the path that we all agreed and talked about.
Okay, I could see that with the argument for Deshaun when he's like, let's just stick with Tiffany or whatever, when she wanted to flip it. I could totally see that. But I will say that I don't think she's a spokesperson for Ricard. Ricard wants to be the spokesperson. He's challenging her at every corner to be like, well, come on. And imagine Shan being there. And I'm not saying she's playing a perfect game at all. I'm just saying she's playing a very similar game to Deshaun, Ricard. And I would say Danny, he's a little more behind the scenes. That's the edit we're seeing. And so you don't necessarily know. I do think Danny is being, I like Danny's game because I like that he kind of goes and pulls Xander aside and is like, but Evie is a big threat. Like, I like how Danny's very smooth like that, where I feel like Ricard, Deshaun, Shan, they're all very blatant. I mean, Shan was very messy this episode when she just said, let's go talk as a 4. I mean, that's very dangerous and messy. So I don't think Shan's game is perfect at all. I like Shan. I like Deshaun. I like Danny. I like Ricard. But I will say Shan's like, here's my strategy. And Ricard basically was like, that's dumb. And when she's come to Deshaun, he's been like, that's dumb. So to constantly hear your strategy's dumb by 2, and like you're pushing too much by 2 men who are also pushing too much. That's what I'm saying. It's we don't see that a lot from women on TV and on these game shows. So when we do see it, they tend to be looked at as if they're a problem rather than Shan's just really freaking strategic. Now she can be messy, but so can Deshaun and definitely Ricard.
Yes, and I don't think that I've seen Deshaun make the same mistakes that Shan has made, because this is the second time Shan has outwardly been like ruined someone else's game. And the time before was when Leanna had the advantage that nobody knew about, and then in front of Tiffany was like, "Tell me about the advantage," So I think that Shan, and this isn't anything against her as a woman or a person of color, is just being too aggressive in a game where I think Deshaun is really trying to hold his cards close to the chest. And but I do feel like Deshaun the previous night just got caught in his ego. I totally agree with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that they should have voted out Heather, because someone like that, when you're trying to have a group go forward in a game, is just going to mess up everything for everybody. So it's like you have to get rid of that person. And not only that, then you can go to Tiffany and be like, I saved you. I was like, I would have just been out loud like, Heather, what are you doing? You know what, Tiffany, I'm going to save you. I'm going to vote for Heather so that she leaves. Just so you remember, I'm going to vote for Heather, and like try to get her on my team kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And I like what Brooke's saying here. Like, I think Shan and Ricard are playing the same game, and that's why they bump heads. Yeah. I do think so. And then Danny's way more stuff. Yeah, I like how smooth Danny's, that's what we're seeing from the edit. And I feel like that's his personality too, is he's just like smart, but he also is more, he's like, Shan's used to being in front of people and kind of being the boss because she's a preacher, and I feel like Deshaun, I forget is Deshaun a doctor?
Deshaun's in medical school, so he's training to be a doctor.
So he's used to kind of being the boss, or you know what I mean? You're a doctor. I mean, that's a big, high position. So you do have Shan and Deshaun with ego. Obviously, Ricard has an ego, but I don't really pick that from Danny. So he's more able to kind of...
I disagree with the Deshaun being in medical school being like he's the boss, because I think when you're in medical school, you're very underneath your teachers and also the doctors that you
Yeah.
shadow underneath. But
I
I
just
do
meant,
will
like, it's gonna be
say,
important, you know.
I will say though that he's the type of person that has a path, and that's what medical school people do is they plan ahead, and that's what Deshaun's bringing with him. It's like, in order to get to medical school, you got to take MCAT, you got to shadow some places, you got to take a certain amount of schools and stuff. But like, I think he's bringing in that plan. When you zoomed in on that, that freaked me out.
Well, I didn't mean to. It just automatically zooms in when I click on it. I always have to like zoom out. So here's Erica, and this is when Deshaun's kind of explaining to her, you know, or maybe it's Xander, or no, it was Evie, I think. Sloppy gameplay. She was talking to her about it. So everyone's basically looking at Shan's gameplay as sloppy at this point, and then, you know, what Heather did as well. But like you said, the next day we did have a nice moment between Shan and Deshaun, and I thought I had a screenshot from that somewhere here where they're just talking on the beach, but Deshaun doesn't really feel like Shan is hearing him as much as she says, yes, I hear you. I think he's just like, she's still strategizing. I feel like he wants full acknowledgement that he felt. Do you think it's because he felt railroaded? He's like, I want her to fully acknowledge and say she won't do it again or something?
I think that in Shan's perspective, she was messy again. She's like, oh, cool, we made up. Okay, this is what we're doing. And that Deshaun wanted to say, hey, so Deshaun doesn't feel like Shan's listening because he was like, when you push like that, I feel railroaded. I don't feel like I get to tell you what my opinion is before we make a decision together. And Shan's all like, I hear you. That's great. Okay, this is what I'm planning. So
Shan's ready to move on. Deshaun
exactly.
Deshaun
wants to be heard, as in the essence, like Shan should have been like, well, what do you think we should do? And then I'll tell you what I think we should do, and then we'll come together. And I think Shan's more like, this is what we have to do because I see the game in a certain way. So
yeah, so they're not on the same page, and it's definitely a point of contention. So then we go into the first or the only competition, the immunity.
But this was the screenshot, and this is something that you said that was so important because I'm no longer Team Brad. Brad no longer my best friend.
What?
Erica, my best friend.
Because good. I love Erica.
Because this is when Erica, Xander, and 3 other people were sitting around, and Shan comes on. Can I talk to these other people? Okay, let's go. And then it just like this dawn of realization, like, oh yeah, they have all the power. We got to get rid of them. And I love that scene, that plan of action that they had together.
So bad that I feel like at this point, as far as Shan's strategy goes, I do think she's doing what Erica says. And I think the rest of them kind of are too, and forgetting that the other people are there are just considering like they're on the bottom. So it doesn't matter what we say, or like just honestly just overlooking the fact that they're right there as she says, the 4 of us need to talk. I mean, that is game suicide as far as, you know, alliances go. If you did that in like Big Brother or, you know, obviously Survivor, you're clearly, you guys are together in a foursome. You just said it. It was really messy. It was super messy. I was like, what are you doing? No,
I know. And it could have been.
Nobody else was like, wait, what do you know, they just all went along, and then they pulled Ricard over, and then that's when they're talking about like, hey, well, you know, getting a seer, and we'll just, you know, working together. And it's like, what?
Well, that's why I wanted, like, it would have been better if Shan was like, hey, will you come help me gather some firewood? And then, you know, try to get, maybe even delegate, will you guys go get water? And then we'll, you know, like, I think Shan could have played it a little bit better, but it's just so heavy-handed.
Said, yes, let's go as a foursome. And I'm like, what? And I agree, Nanya. Like, it's hard not to be like, that is freaking rude, because they're still there. They might be on the bottom, but they're still there. And I don't necessarily understand. I don't understand Shan's fear of Erica. When Erica, I don't know, I just don't, I feel like I hate to see these 2 boss chicks not working together. When I feel like you guys could easily like have a side thing together. This notion, and again, we're just getting the edit, that, I mean, Deshaun thought this from the start. They're like, she's so smart, she's so this, and yes, she is, and she's admitted in, you know, her confessionals, but nobody can work with her. Heather seems to be able to work with her. Xander's now kind of working with her. You couldn't, I don't know. It's just, I don't understand. There was this big target just put on Erica. I guess you got to have a target on somebody very early. But after, what she did to kind of give everyone a do-over, I feel like the women who got that do-over, I feel like they would have maybe snatched her up, but that unfortunately didn't happen.
Yeah. I think, but I will say with Shan, I think her gameplay is totally, or not her intuition is on point in terms of like, we got to get rid of Erica. It's like she can be manipulative, and that's a really good thing for Survivor. Or I shouldn't say manipulative. I don't want to. That's such a bad term. But she can be a game player.
It's okay to be a game player and manipulative on a game show for sure, but it's good unless people are picking up on that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you can do it without people knowing you're doing it, like Erica. I think Deshaun felt like he was being manipulated by Erica. And so then he was like, oh, okay. And I think that's kind of why he initially was like, oh, we got to be careful of Erica. I could tell.
Yeah.
So
but like her intuition is right. Yeah. It's
everyone
a good show.
This season is a freaking, there's no one I'm like, is a stinker. I feel like this is really well cast.
Even Heather just mixing the pot and being like, I'll save you, and then causing ruckus was like, I like her. Yeah.
I know.
We need that.
Heather, she gave so much to us that I'm like, I'm so grateful to her now.
Yeah, we need a wild card.
I took so many damn screenshots. It's hard to organize all these. But, okay, let me try to figure out. So then we go into the immunity challenge, and we break up. They break them up into 2 teams, and no matter what, Deshaun and Danny are always on the same team. It's like crazy. I mean, this season has pulled a lot of the sames,
Yeah.
But this one was the same. So you have the blue and you have the yellow. So you have Evie versus Liana versus Deshaun versus Xander versus Danny. And then you have Heather versus Nasir versus Ricard versus Shan, and then Erica. And the 2, so they have to stay there and they have to hold their arms up and hold on to this pole like this. And their arms are going completely numb. And there's a point with yellow when Nasir and who was it? It was Nasir.
Erica.
Erica's watching.
The last 2 were Erica and Nasir.
But before then, it was Nasir and Ricard, and Ricard gives him this look. And I got the screenshot, but my screenshots are all jacked up. But he gives him like this side eye, and Nasir's like, I could go all night. And then it's just like those 2 against each other, which is funny because they both lose and Erica wins, so she didn't have to.
Ricard was like, all right. After he said it, then the edit was like, okay, I'm done.
And then Nasir's like, my arm, and Jeff's like, you have to put your arm this way, holding the pole, and he's like, I can't feel it. It's completely numb. And even later, Nasir goes to like high five or clap, I think it was, and it's still numb. You can't clap. So this was very taxing physically. And so Erica wins for yellow, and then it comes down to Danny versus Xander, and these both these men are so freaking strong and in shape and athletic, and then it just comes down to Xander wins it. And we hear a really interesting comment from Liana. Liana really hates Xander.
Yeah.
She said, I just hate his face. And I was like, are you? I mean, you're hungry, you're cranky, I'm sure. But I was like, I get Xander has a lot of power and she's never really enjoyed him per se, but he must remind her of someone, or there must be something we're not seeing, because she said, I hate his face. I was like, that's
I think, and this is allegedly, I think that they might have hooked up pre-show, and then he was like, you don't exist, and then she was mad about it. I think that's what happened.
That was so sexist. No, that did not happen.
But how can you hate someone's face? You don't even know them. You have no relationship with them other than
they've had 16, 17 days nonstop. So there's probably they were on a
so there might have been some kissing, and then he was like, I can't do this. I gotta win this for me, and I don't want to get involved with you. And then it was
no, that's not even.
You don't think so?
No, I think.
Then why would you hate his face? It doesn't make sense.
He represents something in the game that she sees getting far, this young guy, and she's like, oh, it's so easy for him, or something like that. It feels very resentful almost. So
I'm totally team big nipples. So I'm on Xander's side on this one.
Oh, yes. Did we talk about that before?
Yeah.
Does he have big nipples? Let me pull it up. I don't think he has that big a nipple. Oh, he does have some. He doesn't have as big a nipples as you, but he's got
Hey, those are my poopy nipples.
poopy nipples. Let's see what he's working with. Here he is. There he is, Andy.
Look at that face.
Get it.
This challenge was made for small people. That's why Erica and him won.
Oh yeah, with these like foot challenge. You know who has small feet? Deshaun has little feet though. I saw they did a close up of his feet, and I was like, oh, his are little too.
I mean, it's all the weight and like if you have so much muscle, that's more weight on your body, you know. Mm-hmm. So, and then you have to be the right height for the thing, or else you could like. I think what happened with Nasir is the bars. You can see with Xander, his bars are like way up here, and then Nasir's are like back here. I felt like they were in a weirder position. So like, I mean, it's probably why it fell asleep is because he was losing circulation and he was pinching like something. So there was like nothing there. And that's why I was falling asleep. Yeah. They're sleep deprived and hungry. I've hated more for less.
I can eat someone on a full stomach. So I can't imagine how I'd be with bugs crawling on me and having to go potty outside. So it could just be that. It could just be,
waterlogging.
You know what? He's just annoying the shit out of me. But it was just, I didn't expect her to say it. I was like, dang, Leanna. She was like, I hate his face. I was like, oh my gosh, holy shit. So not only does Xander win, but he immunity, but he wins food for his tribe. But
the half that this separated them. It's not, they're all one tribe, but they split the tribes in half. So and they got stew, chicken and beef.
Yeah, they get chicken and beef stew. They get to go eat that, and then the losers have to go back to UA or something.
What's your beef stew?
What's your beef stew? And they have to like sit there and wait for them to be done eating this delicious stew. And
well, they put him back at the old campsite, the old tribe site.
I think UA, right?
So they didn't have to watch him eat. That would be horrible. I would hate people even more if I had to watch you eat.
Oh no, they just had to wait for them. Did I say watch? Oh, I did? Okay. Yeah, so then we got a little edit about, let's see, we got, oh God, these are fucking annoying. They keep popping up over here. Okay, we got an edit about Ricard's ear. We got a lot of close-up shots of his ear because he's completely deaf in his right ear. So if he wanted to be the first hearing impaired person.
Yeah. And he's good at reading lips. That's what we found out. So every time I would talk around Ricard, I just do this now. So I was thinking that we could, like, I don't want him to read my lips.
Yeah, because he was saying, yeah, I'm really good at that. I'm talking to everyone, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna watch you, and I'm gonna read your lips. But it was an interesting story. Did they explain how he lost his hearing, or it wasn't
something he was born with, I think.
Oh, it was what he was born with. Okay, I wasn't
something that happened when he was young, or he was born that way. But I would, if I was on that island, be like, I think COVID's coming here, and I'd just always put on a mask around Ricard. Yeah, he wouldn't read my lips.
Seriously,
what a great skill to have.
Yeah. So then there's lots of talk. So talk to us, Xchel, about the back and forth of they're like, okay, now we have our two safe people, and now we know everyone else has to go to tribal.
Well, Nasir, Ricard, Shan, and Erica and Heather are all on one team. And essentially what happens is Erica and Heather are like good buddies. So Erica's like, I'm going to stick with you. Let's vote together. Cool. But Nasir comes up to Heather and is like, just so you know, you're going home. I just want to let you know. I think let's be honest about this. Let's be nice. You're going home. And so then Heather's like really bummed about it, right? So then Erica talks to Ricard. I don't know if Ricard came to Erica first or Erica came to Ricard. But essentially, there was this like, we have an opportunity to get rid of someone with an idol, which I think is the best move possible in this situation. Because it's like, if they're not going to use it, let's just get them out of the game, right? So Nasir feels completely safe. Or Heather's like, oh, I'm going home. And now we have this idea that Nasir might go home if played off correctly, which is that Heather just stays low-key, like, oh, I'm going home, and makes a big deal about it. So, yeah, this is great. And then on the other side, I think we're trying to see Xander as Liana, Deshaun, Henry. No, I keep saying Henry.
Danny. I'm like,
Danny,
who's
thank
Henry?
You. I keep saying Henry, but I meant Danny.
You thought Henry was Ricard, because Ricard to me kind of looks like a Henry for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, Danny, and then also Evie. And so we find out that, it's like Xander has immunity. So who does he want to vote out? The thing is, like, they had numbers. And so if Xander didn't win immunity, I think he would have been the next one voted out. But because he won immunity, we find out that it's like, hey, can we get everyone's on like Xander's butt to be like, hey, can you vote the way that we want you to vote? Because I think it'd be a good move. But we find out that Xander really wants Deshaun out and gets Evie to like be like, okay, I'll write down Deshaun. And then it's funny because we have Leanna coming over to like Xander and be like, hey, let me hold your idol, and you can vote for like you can vote for Liana because that would be really, or for Evie because that would be really helpful, which is so weird because she's like, I hate your face, but I want to hold your idol.
Well, I wonder why Liana thought Xander would ever give. They don't have a relationship like that.
Yeah.
So when she's like, I want to make sure you don't use your idol on Evie. And if you let me hold it, I'll trust you. And he's kind of like, well, and she's like, would you let me? He goes, well, not you. I was like, well, I mean, you don't have a relationship like that. Like when Ricard and Shan did that, or when Shan did that previously with people, she had this working relationship, but Xander knows that Liana doesn't like him and wants him gone, and Liana doesn't show any kind of, I mean, she tries to like, pass it off as like she doesn't dislike him so much, but she really dislikes him. So I thought that was interesting that she would just, I mean, way to ask, but when he was like, well, not you, not because it's like,
I think that was the producers being like, hey, who do you think is how do we get you to approach Xander so that we can make an edit that looks like something might happen?
Yes, because I was just like, Liana, what are you doing? But you gotta try. And maybe Shan was like, hey, I've done it before, try this with him, because I think they think Xander's not as smart as he is.
Yeah, they do think that,
because he just looks like that young kind of like, like buff kind of dumb surfer kid you would see cast on like Big Brother, but he's definitely, no one who's cast this season is a dummy. Like everybody's
really smart. It's good.
Yeah, smart and strategic and in their own right. Yeah, her gameplay sometimes is a little cringeworthy, where I'm like, Liana, that's how the way. But you know what? Whatever. If that's how you want to try. I mean, it didn't necessarily hurt her. She got what she wanted in the end, and Evie, going. So I don't know, did we talk about, so then you said how Erica's talking with Heather, and Erica and Heather are strategizing, and
talked about that.
Nasir's not, down for that. And Nasir, I feel like this is the moment where Nasir's game really took a nosedive, because he is such a great person to watch, and he is so genuine, but he's so honest, and those are great qualities, but not necessarily all of that in Survivor all the time. So the fact that he even went over to Heather and was like, it's you, and I'm not going to do anything to help, and I got an idol and they got idols and we all got idols and we're fine and you're not.
Yeah.
Like, well, now that, there's going to be some kind of strategy and scramble to how do we stop that. And then that's when Ricard comes over to Heather and Erica and says, this is dumb. Why would we get rid of, no offense, but Heather, why would we get rid of you? We need to get rid of Nasir. I mean, these people that have all these advantages right now, and he's got an idol, and we're just letting these idol people skate by. And that's when that plan starts to get in motion, that Heather's going to put on her best Oscar-worthy acting and decide that she's...
Well, that's like with this part, it's like Nasir's game ended when he thought he was completely safe. That's what this game has always taught us, is that as soon as you feel like safe and secure that what you think is going to happen, I mean, that's when you get blindsided.
Yeah.
So,
and I guarantee Nasir will be back. He's such a fun player to watch, but it just shows that there's so much more to Survivor than, obviously he kills it at challenges. He is so likable. He knows how to can climb a tree and get, coconuts and papaya, and he can start a fire like this, but there's so much more that goes into it. And that's another situation where you see a player who makes camp life or the tribe life easier and then gets screwed over and doesn't make it to the end.
Yeah.
So then, thanks, Ashley. We appreciate that.
Ashley.
First super chat of the night.
I appreciate that.
Nasir was acting big like when we were kids, kind of condescending.
Yeah.
Chalk boy, you're not wrong. Because,
No.
and also I didn't love that he was saying he kept referring to, and maybe this is something that Heather set the precedent of, but it was like mom. You'll see that on these reality shows. There was a contestant in Big Brother, Davon. She's you know Davon, Xchel? I know you don't watch Big Brother, but she's a pretty popular player, and everyone called her Mama Day, and they were just like, just because she's a mom, it was like it completely took over her identity, as it did, it seems, with Heather. And Davon's like, I don't want to be called Mama Day, like my name's Davon. And I feel that with Heather, where he's like, come on, Mom, but it was a little condescending, where he's like, don't just give up. And it's like, didn't you ever think, Nasir, that she's playing you? But maybe he didn't think he would do that. So
he thought he was Heather, like, he thought he was getting his comeuppance, because he was like, oh, you said my name, you're out the door next. That's just fair.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's true.
That's why he was doing that. It wasn't like, I don't think. And as far as the mom things go, I don't know. It might be how Heather introduced herself. Like, hey, I'm a mom. Just call me mom. I'm used to it. Like. Yes, it could. And so I mean, if there is a place where she was like, hey, please don't call her that, please call me Heather, then I would totally get it. But I'm pretty sure she was like, just call me Mom or Heather. I've heard it all.
And I'm thinking, you guys are like the same age. I don't know how young. I mean, maybe Nasir is a lot younger, but I mean, you're closer. She couldn't have birthed you, sir. You got gray in your beard, so you can't call her Mom. But yeah, like you said, maybe she did, as she was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. There were so many great Heather moments where she's like, okay.
You can tell she feels caught, because you can tell how her lips are tense. You see how her mouth like really tense, and like just like when I'm uncomfortable and I'm just like,
no, your mouth gets really tense when
that's what she's doing with hers.
And I say, are you okay, Xchel? And you said, I'm fine. And I said, but I don't think you're fine, because your mouth is really comfortable. Another one who felt a little too comfy is our girl Abby. What? I mean, she was making deals with Deshaun. She was got Xander, and it was
too messy.
Too messy. And
she went too wide. She cast her net too wide.
Yes, and make sure that you get your friend, your number one ally, Xander. You worked so hard on him from day one, so make sure he uses that freaking idol on you. Yeah,
but I think Xander, once he found out that Evie was playing him, he was like, well, I'm never going to be her friend again. You're on your own. So I think that's why she was out the door.
No, Xander?
Yeah.
Xander voted Liana to go home.
Yes, but he could have used his idol. And I think that, ultimately he could have used his idol. Maybe he was trusted in the sense of like, oh, yeah, we'll all vote with you. But I feel like he could have saved Evie in this situation. I mean, he has an idol. And I think that.
And Danny did pull him aside and say, when Xander thought they were all going to, because they tried to turn it so that Liana would go. Mm-hmm. And it was a good play of Xander to go up to Deshaun and say, well, Liana did say your name, because she did. She did say Deshaun's name. And so it was good for him to bring that up. And then Deshaun's like, really? But Danny, see, this is how Deshaun is more like Shan and Ricard than I think he wants to admit, or than people see, is that he was like, there were so many times this episode that Danny is the voice of reason, because Danny's very logical. Deshaun acts more on emotion like the other ones, because Danny was looking at Deshaun, like when Deshaun was telling Evie and them like, yeah, we'll do what you wanted, and Danny's like, what? You're not speaking for me. And Danny had to go pick up the mess that Deshaun left by saying, no, Evie's the issue here. Because I remember watching and just seeing Danny look over at Deshaun like, what are you doing? No, because I think Danny wants to, as messy as however the foursome is, Danny wants to stick to that. Yeah. Sean's ready to leave. Shan's trying, but she's, but Danny's like, no, we're keeping this shit together. And so that's how, like, right when Deshaun heard that, like, and that could have been a lie. And I think that's what in Danny's mind, he's like, we don't know if that's true that Liana said your name, so we're not going to flip on her right now. So I think the reason Liana's still here today is probably because of Danny. Yeah. It looked like Sean was ready to turn. Yeah. Well,
Sean just wants to be a leader in his group. Maybe that's what he's looking for, because it just seems like he's ready to get off the Shane ride. That's what it feels like.
Oh, he's way ready. He's so done. Brooke said, how does the shot in the dark work? Shouldn't that been a sign for Nasir to play his idol? Being Heather didn't use the shot in the... You'd think.
Yeah.
But again...
He didn't put 2 and 2 together.
I think Heather played him in the fact that she was like, I'm okay with going home. He's like, no, Mama, don't give up. And she's like, it's okay. And it's again, they just think she's this old lady mom who's, I'm just lucky to be here. And she's like, I'll cut all your throats. Did you not see last tribal? I'm messy. Why are you believing me? That was just it was not good. For Nasir to overlook that, knowing what she's capable of from last tribal, it's like, you guys are not seeing Heather and how messy she can be, and how much you can mess up your game, and how strategic she was. That was good strategy, her playing that off.
Yeah, it was.
Go Heather. So then
that was all through Erica, right? Erica, I think, was the mastermind behind it all.
Yes, Erica's very smart, and then Ricard came over and was like,
Brad no longer my friend. Eric is my new best friend.
All right. Yeah. So sad for Brad, though, your boyfriend. Oh, we'll miss him.
I reached out to him. I'll see if he responds.
You did not.
Yeah, you said I could interview him.
Okay, but what did you say?
I said, hi, I run a very successful YouTube channel with my wife, and we'd like to have you on the show. What? Yeah, of course.
Oh, did you really?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to see what you said.
That's hilarious. No, we could totally interview Brad. I just thought it was so funny that we run a very successful YouTube channel. So then we go to Tribal, and obviously we see our first blindside, and Nasir gets blindsided, and it goes to a tie with Heather and Nasir, and Nasir's like, what? No. And Heather's playing it, she's still doing her acting like, I'm just an old lady mom, and I'm going to go home. And they're like, yeah, I guess you are. That's Nasir's like, I guess you are. And then it goes to tie, and then they just vote between Heather and Nasir, and Nasir's voted out. He takes like a champ, and then he goes and joins Tribal, or I'm sorry, he joins the jury with Tiffany, and Tiffany is sitting over there, and we had a very funny moment.
Oh yeah, I liked when Heather was like, "Oh, I wish there was an idol sent down. Please send it now." And then they cut to Tiffany, and what was on her?
It was a huge like beetle flying cockroach. It was disgusting. It's just like, oh my God, they've seen so much worse being there for that many days. I mean, now she's at Ponderosa, so she's living it up. She's not having bugs crawling her. She's at a nice hotel eating good food. But yeah, she just flicked it off. It was perfect timing. That beetle had quite the timing. And then we see the other tribe come in, and Nasir and Tiffany get to watch. And what happens, Xchel?
Basically, they tie the vote, and then Nasir goes home after they have them revote.
The next one.
Oh, basically Evie goes home.
Well, Evie says it's like being on a roller coaster. And it's raised, you get to the top, and I've survived, already seeing my survivor demise. And then Deshaun's kind of like, ooh, awkward. And Evie thinks that they're going to vote Liana.
Yeah.
And they've made her believe that. Xander's the only one who votes Liana. And Evie leaves, and she's like, dang, well, I mean.
I think she looked at Deshaun because I think that she thought Deshaun was on her side when she got voted out.
Totally. Yeah. But she took it well too. And then she did. Her outgoing message. She's like, is there any queer kids out there who want to play? I don't even think she
just be you. She didn't say play. She's like, if there are any queer kids, be proud, be you. So
yeah. And Brooke, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was like, dang, Tiffany is so pretty. Like, you see these people on Survivor, and then she cleans up very well. And sometimes you see people at Ponderosa, and you're like, damn.
Well, they don't have any makeup, so it's like, obviously they're not going to be like.
No, but I mean, she just looked really good, and like.
Yeah, well, she put on makeup and she showered. She wasn't covered in dirt and water poop.
Yes,
she actually
Nasir kept that big smile on his face to the end. It was fun to watch Nasir. It was fun to watch Evie. They're two really great players. I mean, these are good vote outs because they both are, Evie's very strategic.
Yeah.
And Nasir's just really good at competitions and so likable. So you definitely want to get them out. And they did. So that was the episode, and it was pretty good.
Did you see the preview for next week's?
What happens?
Oh, it's just gonna get really like good. I think it'll be a good rest of the season. Just because it's going so fast, they got to get rid of people. So
I know. Is there going to be someone who's going to turn on who next episode? Are we going to see
I
more?
think Shan. Well, I think they're gonna turn on Shan. That's what I think. But it looks like Ricard's gonna try to mastermind something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ricard. Napoleon says, I think Deshaun played up flipping to keep Xander from playing his idol. Oh, so you think he played up that he was going to, in front of them, Napoleon. That's a good point. So maybe Danny's like, what? And he's like, no, I'm doing this so he doesn't play his idol. So I'm going to really play this up and talk to. That could be. Could be. But I didn't think of that. It seemed to me like he was more that he would kind of break. I think he's ready to be out of that foursome. I think he just wants to take Danny with him, and he's like, I'm okay. And he knows. We see, in the previews for the next, I did see it because Liana is crying and Shan is crying because they want to flip on Ricard. The guys do. I think they want to take Ricard out, and then Liana goes and tells Shan, and then they cry together again. I like every time one of them cries, they're so like connected. And the other one cries. And then she's like, I know, I'm so sorry. It's your number one ally. I'm like, oh my God, Liana. It literally is like her big sister or something. She really feels this closeness to Shan. It's sweet.
Oh, man.
She was tan, lost some weight, living her best life on Ponderosa. Yes, bro. Yes. But then I would be just shoving my face full of so many carbs by that. When I'm on
Where
Ponderosa.
are the crunchy trolleys? That's what you would say.
Well, there's clips for Ponderosa up. I haven't watched any. Have you? Because they're on YouTube.
I haven't. No.
I like watching Ponderosa at the end, and I like seeing everyone's weight loss, and when they all get on the scale and they see the doctor, and then I like when they get to eat for the first time and shower. But you can get whatever you want. They'll serve you whatever you want.
Steaks,
food,
chicken.
Okay, so who do you think is going?
Shan.
Next week. So we'll pick 3. You guys put it in the chat who you think has a good chance of being voted out next week. So Xchel's first guess is Shan. My first guess is Ricard. Okay, who's your second guess?
Erica.
Oh, Erica. I don't think Erica's going to go this soon. I am going to say, I'm going to say Heather. Okay, you get one more choice. You guys feel
one
free
more
to put your 3
choice,
in the
huh?
chat. Who you think? Don't forget to smash the like.
Ricard.
I already said Ricard.
You did? Oh, dang.
That was my first choice.
Liana.
I have Ricard and Heather. You have Shan and Erica.
Wait, no. Okay, Shan, Erica. Let me pick a boy. You picked Ricard. I don't think Xander's going to go home.
Sean. What if they turn on Deshaun?
Danny.
Not Danny. I like Danny.
He's the most physical person, so I think Erica might draw up a plan to be like, we got to get rid of champion of all the comps. We got to get rid of him.
They should get rid of Danny, but I like Danny. I think Deshaun, because if he's pushing for Ricard to go and Liana and Shan pull some people together, they could flip it on Deshaun, even though him and Danny are a pretty strong twosome. So I don't know. This will be a good
episode coming up.
I'm excited. So next week is episode 10. This season is going by. Oh, Liana. I didn't even think of Liana. That's a good one, Ace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's like, no, not Danny. Not Danny.
Don't you touch Danny.
Ricard, Shan, and Heather.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
Tanya says that.
I guess everyone agrees that it'll either be Ricard or Shan will be like the majority of votes will go there, I think. The twosome will be broken up.
Yes. Nancy says, I think Ricard is the Claire to Shan. Oh, so like a BB reference. Okay. You get a hunkle and you get a hunkle. Everybody gets a hunkle. Yes. And then we have to do our football update, Xchel, with your team. You have a big game coming up this weekend because of my little niece.
Border battle.
She's at school. She made a bet with her friends, and the bet is she's a Vikings fan, but she goes to a Wisconsin school, so they're so young, but she's got a lot of obviously.
What's the bet?
So if the Vikings win, then all her friends who are Packer fans have to become Vikings fans.
Whoa, looks
For
like
the
she's gonna
rest
be
of-
a
I said-
Packers fan.
For the rest of their life. And I was like, yeah, I can't remember when's the last time the Vikings beat the Packers?
Oh no! Well, at least she'll be a part of a team that wins.
Well, I had to explain to her. I was like, you know what that's called when the Vikings play the Packers? And she goes, no, what? And I said, it's called border battle.
Hi,
When I was in
Tilly.
college, I went to college in Wisconsin, and everyone in the dorms would be like, border battle. You know, it was like a big
Border battle's the best. It's like a Super Bowl within the seasons. You know, I think it's like it's a great rivalry. You know, it's two states next to each other that hate each other, so it's great. Border
Aaron
battle.
Rodgers gonna play.
Yeah. I got to see a border battle. Well, Vikings lost, but it was still fun. They have great fried cheese in Wisconsin.
That's the one you went to Lambeau for,
Yeah.
and everyone was wearing like coveralls, like overalls, and
Yeah. It was fun. I'd go back again. I wanted to take my stepmom because she's a big time Packers fan. It would be fun to just meet your family up there and then get some tickets up there. That'd be fun. But
yeah, I'll probably stay home. But yeah, you guys can.
You're missing out. You got to experience at least once. And
many cheese.
I guarantee, like the fried cheese is worth it, Joleen.
Oh yeah, like cheese curds for sure. Brooke says if she loses, she should have to wear cheese at that. She probably would wear it too. But it's so cute.
Do you want an update or you don't want to? Okay.
Football.
So Vikings won. It was a really good game because we felt that they were aggressive. That was the consensus. But a lot of people are weary that this aggressiveness will continue. In terms of what's happening with our offensive coordinator, his name is Clint Kubiak, and he is the son of a former offensive coordinator named Gary Kubiak. And a lot of people feel that nepotism put him there because he is not doing a good job calling plays. So this game, when they were aggressive, the rumor is that Clint got helped to call better plays. So there's that going on. There's already some division within the team in terms of our star receiver, his name is Justin Jefferson, wanted the ball more. And so the head coach, Mike Zimmer, approached him and said, yeah, you're going to get the ball more, but you have to, work hard at practice and we'll get you in the rotation. So a lot of people feel Mike Zimmer likes to take credit for everything because he has head coach egotistical syndrome. And now people are looking to see if the Vikings can continue their success at Vikings Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at a noon game. No, not TCF. That is the college game. This is the U.S. Bank Stadium. And a noon game with the Packers, who have Aaron Rodgers there. So
COVID denier.
I don't think he's COVID denier. He's not. He's a vaccine.
He's anti-vax.
He's anti-vax because he wants to have kids in the future, and he's allergic to some of the stuff. So,
I wonder. What, he just said some of the stuff. He doesn't say what
he said. Well, he doesn't want to be specific, so he just didn't want to answer questions at that time, and he just made it worse. You know that thing you do when you don't tell your mom when you broke something, like a vase? And so, like, rather than just you hide it, right? That's what he did. And then mom found out, and now he's in more trouble than he would have been if he just would have
kind of like
owned up
when
to
I had parties, and then my friends filled up my parents' vodka with water, and I didn't say anything. And then my parents were making Bloody Marys, and they're like, "This doesn't taste like there's any alcohol." And they went to the bottle, and they're like, "It's water." So that's kind of what
Jolene, naughty.
Hey, I didn't even know they did that. I might have. I don't remember. Right, Tilly?
Yeah.
We don't remember. All right, you guys. So that's this episode of Married to Survivor. Will we be back Wednesday? There is an episode Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm not working, so I'll be there.
All right. Smash the like. Leave your comments after the video post. It helps us with the algorithm. You guys, thank you for the interesting conversation tonight. Producer Tilly is ready for me to get off air. She's like,
Can she say something for the audience?
Tilly, can you talk to the audience? Tilly. Did you hear it?
Yeah, that was awesome.
She's trying to play me. I just scratched kind of by her back here, and then she goes, Tilly. Then she talks. Yay. Yay, Aaron Rogers' brother Jordan is so really. I'll have to look him up. Okay. Yes. Hi, producer Jelly. Hi, Jelly Donuts. Waiting for my Treatopia with your code. Bet survivors wish they had a bet. Survivors wish they had one. Ooh, yes, yes, Jelly. Yes, you guys. Okay, so we will see. Oh, you guys are missing. She's presenting her butt right now.
It's like.
Just missed the camera. I was like, oh, yeah, kitty butthole. All right, you guys have a great rest of your night. And we'll be back. Well, Xchel won't, but I'll be back tomorrow with Nana. We're doing Married to Bravo and Nana's birthday celebration. And then we'll be back Wednesday. Right, Xchel?
Right.
All right. Good night, guys. Say
Good
bye,
job.
Kelly. Okay, bye.